Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and can I be real for a second? I'm slightly disappointed. Do you want to know why? Well, today I'm reviewing the song from Slovenia. I know I'm standing in front of the emblem, so it looks like the flag of Russia, but no, I assure you this is the flag of Slovenia. And the reason why I'm disappointed is because I like this song, and I have seen nothing but people dismissing it, and that makes me sad. Because Slovenia this year will be represented by the absolutely wholesome being of a human being that is Anna Soklič, and a song entitled Voda, which I'm sure you don't need me to tell you, but that means water in the Slovene language. The whole song is in Slovene. Slovenia does this sometimes. They do their own thing. They send a song in Slovene, and I am here for it. Nobody else is, but I'm here for it. Music and lyrics by Anna herself, with Bojan Simoncic also aiding in the composition department. What have people got against this song? I think it's pretty. Some people think it's boring, apparently, so as always, I would consider both sides of the situation. I will, as always, say what you might like, what you might not like. I will be fair, even if other people haven't been. Be nice to Slovenia, guys. But yeah, sort of carrying on the theme set by Ukraine yesterday, Slovenia is another country where I can only look at last year and think, well, where could they have possibly gone this year? And I'm happy to report that, much like with Ukraine, we have a native language, pure and sincere success story on our hands with this one. Maybe they've learned from what worked for Sebi, maybe not, but either way, I find that this song also invokes kind of a dreamlike atmosphere, albeit not in the same way as Sebi. Whereas Sebi was like 3 a.m. music, this is more like 1:30, maybe 2 a.m. In my mind, that makes sense. It's just as dreamy. It's just a different kind of dreamy. Like, this is REM sleep, and Sebi is non-REM because you're spooning with your lover in the wee hours of the morning. I don't know, but it's some kind of dreamy in any case. Overall, instrumentally, it reminds me of La Forza from Estonia in 2018, except this song is much more of a song rather than just existing simply as a showcase for the singer's voice and nothing else. And that's good. Though it does also indicate that people only like La Forza because of Alina's voice and not because of the backing track, because this is a similar compositional merits. Let's just leave those ghosts in the past, shall we, and get on with the present. So, the positiven shock, to quote a song from 10 years ago. Wow. I have a lot to say about the overall arrangement of this one, as I sort of alluded to just now. First up, instrumentation. It's relaxing, it's, as I said, dreamy, and it suits the world that the song is aiming to build, but even further beyond to that, they managed to incorporate the sound of water as a percussion layer in such a way that feels natural and not excessive or incongruous or gimmicky. Not bad for something that Anna claims to have thrown together 2 days before the deadline for EMA. And let's talk about Anna herself while I'm at it. As I said earlier, she's a cinnamon roll. She's a wholesome bean. Did you see the interview with her when she won the national final? She was like, oh, I didn't think I'd win. Oh. Which is more or less how Zala and Jasper responded to winning last year as well. So it shows that Slovenia does have taste, and they also have very nice people living there, so good. But also, technical-wise, for a lot of the song, we get to hear Anna singing in a fairly low register, and she does this brilliantly. Bear in mind, chest voice and lower notes in general tend to be rare features in compositions that are led by a female vocalist. So the fact that she's able to step up and deliver those low notes as convincingly as she does is an immense achievement. It is just harder for women to do the lower notes in the same way that it's harder for men to do higher notes. But that's not to dismiss the bigger notes that are here that the refrain of the song is actually built around. I'd half expected something of that caliber when I listened to this one for the first time anyway, but it still took me by surprise when she launched into the refrain for the first time. And in a good way as well, it's a positive surprise. After that quiet, gentle, not hypnotic, but like, you know, intoxicating build-up, suddenly Anna launches into this big, powerful refrain without missing a beat. It flows like water. But yeah, my point is, she's got both ends of the spectrum covered here. Masterful low notes, and head-turning high notes that she can project with the best of them. There's no chance of this being left behind on the stage in Rotterdam. And the icing on the cake here as well is that she has brilliant rapport with the camera. it makes for a very intimate performance overall, and it kind of reminds me of Alenka Gotar in 2007. You may recall Svetsioga, if you've been watching the contest for that long, where she had the whole lights on her hands and she'd be like, oh. I remember that. I really like that song, and I still do. It's still on my playlist to this day. But yeah, she looks right at us as the viewer, as opposed to simply looking at the lens of the camera like I'm doing now. Like, you can see the difference between this and this. I'm making it look creepy, that's not my intention. But in short, this woman is no stranger to the stage, and she utterly owns every second of her time on it. And that's a good thing, without a doubt. Nevertheless, though, nobody is safe from my consideration of the thoughts and feelings of the people who might not like this song quite so much. Y'all are valid too, even if I don't necessarily agree with you. One thing that I feel is kind of obvious with a song like this: if you're not into it, that is the musical style, the vocal style, the genre in general, whatever, then it might come across as a bit boring or bland or whatever. While her delivery did sound very convincing and emotionally genuine as far as I could tell, I couldn't really follow what the story of the song was because of the language barrier. And I'm not saying that the language barrier is a problem, it's just there are some songs where that isn't an issue. There are some songs where I can't speak a lick of the language, but the way they perform it still gets the message through to me. And this isn't one of those songs. So if some people end up tuning out mentally, I get why. I will be fair there. After all, much as I like the song, I won't deny it's kind of nothing that we haven't seen at Eurovision before. Sure, I get it, and I agree. A song isn't inherently bad just because it doesn't innovate. Innovation isn't a requirement, after all. It's just, what incentive is there to come to this song if you can go to another song that does the same thing, but in your tastes it does it better? Granted, this might be the song that does it better in your opinion. Great, but this statement wasn't really marketed at you, as you can sort of guess. And finally, though I've praised Anna's stage presence and general rapport with the camera, I do still think that care should be taken when transferring that to the stage in Rotterdam, especially considering how glamorous and wild their plans are for that stage. Like, have you seen the renders? Wow. But yeah, the Eurovision stage is a large beast, and while Sebi was able to make the jump to that convincingly enough, there is always that risk. Once again, we have an intimate song that uses tender body language and gentle acknowledgement of the camera. Make too much use of the space that's there, and those subtleties are going to be completely lost. But at the same time, if you don't use enough of the space, the stage will swallow the performance whole, and it'll get lost. And yeah, I said there's no risk of that with her voice, but the staging's another matter entirely. I'm probably worrying over nothing here, but no, I will reiterate, care needs to be taken to get the absolute best out of this song in May, especially considering that some people have been so harsh on it so far. I want this one to shine. So, in terms of numbers, this might surprise you, but I'm going to give it a personal 8 out of 10. Yeah, I can fawn over a song without going full crazy stan mode and giving it a perfect 10 just because giving it a perfect 10 just because I like it, even though that's what that number is exactly for. But I mean, I can still acknowledge that it's not perfect in my eyes, but I do really like it. I was tempted to go with a 9 at first as well, because I do really enjoy what this song brings to the table, but when the song ends, I find that it sort of slips from my mind a bit too quickly, and La Forza kind of takes its place. I didn't mention that in the you might not like section of the review, because I'm fairly sure this is just a me thing, having the brain of a goldfish or something, which, side note, goldfish could remember stuff for a year, which that just makes the comparison all the more fitting. Anyway, I had the same issue, honestly, with Bosnia and Herzegovina's song from 2007, and I kind of still do. Maria Šestić and Rijeka bez imena. It's a lovely, beautifully written song that is objectively really good, and I love it when it's on, but for whatever reason, I just cannot remember anything about it unless I'm literally currently right this second listening to it. I guess that makes them both fair qualifiers for the term dream pop then. On the technical side, meanwhile, this is gonna bother some people, but on balance, I think this is another low 10 out of 10 situation. Because there are small parts that could be tightened here and there, but I think they said there was going to be, if not a revamp, then at least a revision of the song that will hopefully pull the bits and pieces into just the right focus to make the whole package excel. As it currently stands, though, it's a hauntingly gorgeous composition with a perfectly crafted musical world presented by a singer who, on a personal level, invites us into that world just as perfectly with her voice, her delivery, her projection, and her camera camaraderie. And I reiterate, not bad for a song allegedly submitted at the 11th hour. So, what does this mean for Slovenia in the grand tapestry of time, in the great hall of Eurovision history? I think it means good things. Especially as of last year, EMA has really come into its own as a national final format. So, I would be perfectly content to award Slovenia the blue arrow of things are doing great, but then they went and added in the EMA Fresh round to the mix, which I love that, by the way, just like F-R-E-S with a caron, but it's pronounced fresh because it's the same word. But yeah, while the winner of EMA as a whole didn't come from that round in the end, I still at least appreciate that they incorporated it in the first place. Slovenia has taken into consideration the fact that they may have domestic talent that's flown under the radar that they used to scout for acts for EMA shows in the first place, and by opening the doors in this way, they're able to harvest the finest talent that they didn't know they had, whilst still having a safeguard against enthusiastic amateurs, shall we say, thus preventing the national final itself from being too full of The Voice-style hopefuls, rather than seasoned performers with guaranteed credibility, you know? So with that consideration firmly squared away, can we expect to see Slovenia in the final again this year, especially now that that symbiotic curse with Norway has been profoundly broken once and for all? Well, I can't really say with any confidence one way or the other. In my heart, I want this to qualify, but then my brain sweeps in and applies logic and/or reason. I'm fairly sure that the juries will at least give this one something resembling fair dues, because of the instrumentation and Anna's general stage readiness and just everything. It sounds a bit like jury bait, in a good way. But I hesitate when it comes to the public. Without any guarantees of public support, especially having seen how some people have reacted to it, I could see this landing at around 12th or so in the semi-finals, so televote points will make all the difference with this. I think it belongs in the final. I would save it a spot in the top 26. Well, that's not saying anything about my top 41, but I mean, I would like to see this again on the Saturday, and I want to say that it's safe because she's such a good performer and it's such a lovely song. But the hard fact is, that remains to be seen, and it's your decision to make. So, over to you. What do you think? As always, let me know. I am always listening. Comments, iCard. You know the deal at this point. I don't need to keep saying it, but I will anyway because I'm just that kind of considerate. So, yeah, let me know how you feel, and to Anna and Team Slovenia as a whole, congratulations on winning the national final, and I can't wait to see you in Rotterdam. And ignore the haters. Your song's beautiful.